In this video, we're looking at a complaint of the LPR system cameras not working. The user makes contact, says the cameras aren't working, or you're looking at your system yourself, your cameras aren't working, not getting it reads. Log in this one. This one is a symptom where we see that we have the boxes, both boxes are gray for the cameras on two system setup. Right now we're looking at an 83 mini split system. I've checked outside, the cameras are already working, they are both flashing red. So the cameras are powered, the box is powered. So as I log in, I saw that the boxes are grayed out. That's an indicator that the IP addresses aren't set. The IP addresses may not be set from an improper setup, a update issue, or you have a VPN that's actually blocked the connection because of an automatic configuration. What I want to do is I want to go into the tools, which is the wrench, and then click on advance. I'm going to scroll over to the cameras, and I find that they're automatically configured. With them being automatically configured, the VPN that is in this system is blocking them from connecting automatically. So I'm going to go over to add them manually. The left camera, an 83 system, is going to use two separate IP addresses, one for each camera. An M6 and M7 uses the single IP addresses, and it splits it by head. It's just the difference of the way the actual processor in the back is built. The left camera is going to be 172.198.3.2. 172.19.8.32, and I'll click OK. When I click OK, I'll see the information pop up on the screen, but I realize that the box is still gray. Reason is I haven't saved it yet. So if I go ahead and save it now, we'll see that the system will start. You'll see the loading screen go, and the system is actually now saved left camera, and it's green. Indicates now that it's communicating with the box for that camera all the way to it. Need to add the right side camera. I want to click on add configure and use the IP address of 172.19.8.31 for the right camera. If this was a M6 or M7, I would actually be okay, and I'd be able to hit OK here because it would be head 0. And I'll hit save at this point. Now both cameras are on. When you're doing it for yourself or another system, it may just be easier to add both cameras first and then hit save. Just want to show the process twice in one video. Now if we were looking at something that was a M6 or M7 camera, the difference here again, this left camera would operate on the same IP address as the right camera, the 172.19.8.31. The difference would become, as you go in and look at it, the head would be different. You'd actually make the head in an M6 or M7 for that second camera would be head 1. I can look here and I see that what firmware version. M6s are all and M7 have different firmware versions. For the M6, M7, they have a different firmware version. For 83s, you should see most of them on the 2.18. That's the information that helps the system start up and run. The protocol version is what is used. It's the software. We talk about optical character recognition of how it reads the tags. So we want to make sure we have the most current version. Right now, at the time of this video in April of 2020, for an 83 system, the most current protocol version is the 13.03.00, and that will help read the new Maryland tags with the flag underneath the bottom of it as they made the additions of the characters that are farther along in the system. Once everything's done, I can hit save. Make sure the system's actually working and your cameras are connected. We know the red lights are flashing, so that's a good indicator that there's power and that they're communicating. I can go into live mode and look at the camera. I look at my left-hand camera, I can see the car outside of it. I can check to make sure the color camera works by clicking on the box where the camera is. I can switch actually which camera I'm looking at. Here I have the color camera. Here I have the black and white camera, which would be using the infrared at night. If I look over at it, the right-hand camera will do the same thing. Now I'm looking at the vehicle to the right, and I want to make sure that it's actually working. See the different angle, not angle, but the zoom. You'll see the black and white camera is normally a little bit closer up front, and that's the image you normally see down in the box here once it scans. Once everything's said and done, if I want to go out there and make sure everything's working, I want to do a test ride. What you saw here is I've hit pause because I wanted to read both cameras out. Right now, I'm in a situation which you may see as well with the cameras not working, with being red. One of the first things again to check for red is to make sure your cameras are on. Go back and look at it. Is the light flashing? Again, not staring at it, but just make sure that the red light when the camera's flashing, we know we have it. We know we have power in the back. We can also check to make sure that the IP address is set up correctly. One of the things to do in here is go into your network settings, network and sharing center. You'll see that you have network and internet. I want to come over and actually look at my Ethernet because these systems are set up by Ethernet. Go to change adapter options, and we'll see here that I have it set up in this system a static IP address of 172.198.37. That's an indicator that I've already established it. Now we try to do that on a lot of cars we set up, recommend that. But I still want to check the properties. I want to make sure that it's actually correct. Because if this IP address is incorrect, if it's automatically obtained or there's a DNS address, the system's not going to communicate properly. So I want to check to make sure this information is good. This information is good, close out, and everything's running. So what this tells me by looking here at the network adapter is that the system's talking. As you see here, it has a connection. Up here, the other service, the other Ethernet adapter, the other LAN cable on the bottom of this dock of this computer is X'd out. That means there's not a connection right now. So everything's working here. So I have red, everything's working. Again, I want to go back in, I want to actually check my settings. Make sure everything's working. I come and look at the cameras and all the IP addresses are set. So it could be the problem. This would be a simple one of simply the person has paused them and they have to hit it again. But if I go back, I can show you some other issues. You'll see both cameras are on. But what happens if the IP address is incorrect? And things we have to look for here. And sometimes people make mistakes or they change the port. But now that I've changed the IP address, and why you actually have to check. You'll see here that the system's coming on, it's identifying, it's trying to identify what it's talking to. It's not doing very well. But it's lit up, which tells you that the system's talking. But if I come back to the cameras, they are now both red again. So I want to do the same thing. We'll walk through the same process. I look at the cameras, the IP addresses are correct, but I can look over when I see ID, serial number, part number, clock, uptime, temperature. None of the information is there. It's telling me that that the system's not talking to the box in the back where all the information comes from. So I go back and look at it, I say, oh wait, it's identifying. It's not connected, it's identifying. And I want to look at the system. That's when you check the IP address again. Or for the first time, looking at that option. Come over and highlight the Internet Protocol version 4. Look at your properties, and I come in, I notice that somehow either through update or somebody messing around, or they change the port accidentally that the system's not talking to the right one. I want to click use the following IP address. Again, LPR uses a static IP address to talk to the box in the trunk. So I put in the IP address of 172.19. Now if you hit tab through anything, you see what happens. And you mess it up. If I hit OK, it's not going to work. So I clear it back out. In order to go box to box, 172. Now if you have if you have 3 characters, it automatically skips. But this IP address is 172.19. Now you have to hit the space bar to go to the next box. And it's going to be 8. Space again, 37. And now once you put 37 in, you tab it and the submask will generate to 255.255.00. You're good. The IP address has to be entered 172.19.8.37. If I was to add the 37 here and that'd be 0, it's not going to work. So once I've hit this, I want to hit OK to make sure it saves. And I can hit close. And I'm going to look out now that it's actually enabled. But I also see here that the box has changed. And the LPR system is now connected. It's already identified it. You can look down here and see that both cameras have reconnected. So if you log in, you see red cameras and they're both set. You're looking at an IP issue with it being conflicted, or the system isn't talking. So if I looked at it and a camera was off, I may have a camera issue, or one of the cameras are bad, or the box in the trunk is bad. But if I look at it that both cameras, the IR light is flashing, I start investigating forward. I want to check to make sure the IP addresses are set correctly.